Hey everyone, welcome back to the Currency Podcast. Looks like as it turns out, it never ended. Welcome to episode 123. Sorry, I lied to you and said it was going to end. It the show must go on. I wanted to do one more episode talking about cryptocurrencies that I've invested in or that I have money in right now, because I think that as far as people who know me that know about this podcast, they know that it's like that I talk about cryptocurrency on here. And I forgot to update anybody on cryptocurrencies that I've been talking about during the podcast, like my crypto portfolio. And so I wanted to give an update on that and tell you which cryptos are the best to invest in into the future, and those are the ones that I have right now. But this might be my last episode. I might just release episodes monthly or something like that. It's more like I'll maybe make episodes randomly into the future. I'm not going to end the podcast actually just because I don't have to. I can release an episode whenever I want, so I guess I won't end it. But I wanted to do at least one more, talking about updating you on the cryptos that you'll want to invest in order for you to make all kinds of dollars into the future. So this episode is more if you believe in the power of cryptocurrency, the crypto market, or if you're interested in it. I'll give you some tips for investing, like where to stake cryptos that you can stake and where to stake them. And so I own either 7 or 8 cryptocurrencies that I substantially have or want to have money in, and these are my predictions for the future. I've traded cryptocurrency for at least 3 years, and so I feel as though I'm in a better position than I was in the past or the last time I did my crypto portfolio, to make a call on which cryptos are the best. Since I've been investing in them, I've been learning. And so the ones I mention are the ones I think will do the best into the future. And you know that they have my seal of approval because I don't know that I'll give another update on this. I might not ever. I just wanted to bring back what I was talking about in the podcast earlier. And also I might have given the wrong impression in the last episode because I was talking about an abstract idea I had where I wanted to make my podcast into a cryptocurrency, and that's not really related to my feelings on the market as a whole. But I'll just get right into it and tell you. I'll give you some comparisons for which cryptos are the best to invest in as I tell you which ones I'm investing in. And so the one that I have the most of is Bitcoin. I thought that the one I had the most of was Ethereum, but as it turns out, it's Bitcoin. The one I have the second most of is Ethereum. The one I have the third most of is Dogecoin. The one I have the fourth most of is XRP. The one I have the fifth most of is a little cryptocurrency that I would like to call Solana. The one I have the sixth most of right now is Cosmos. And the one I have the seventh most of is Polygon. Like I said, I've invested in crypto for a number of years. This is expertise that you get to hear about, and shit like that. So those are the ones that I have. I'm also going to give you a fun teaser. Okay, so like if you're watching me play the golf, this in the last episode, I have this new TV that's not a smart TV, so it's not connected to the internet. And so there's like a lag when I hit that I'm not used to, and so it's actually really difficult to play because I'm hitting everything late. Because it's not as quickly connected to the internet. It's just like connected to my Xbox or something, and it's not easy to play. I can't even get it in the hole, really. I guess I just have to hit it earlier. Okay. But those are the ones that I have. The ones I have the most by far are Bitcoin and then Ethereum. And then Dogecoin is a fairly distant third. And XRP is like slightly behind Dogecoin. But let me tell you what you should invest in. Or I'll just talk about whatever. Those are the ones that I have. I just want to update you on my crypto portfolio. And reignite this podcast that I shut down without warning a little more than a week ago. It's back on, and it's fucking crazier than ever. Of course. But so if you have $100, the crypto you want to invest in right now, I would say, is Ethereum. I'd say Ethereum is like your best investment. I meant to have more Ethereum than Bitcoin, but I looked at it just today and realized that I don't. But so what a tragedy, right? Poor me. It's really tough to. What a tough realization. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I just you should invest in Ethereum because if Bitcoin doubles, Bitcoin's at like 28,500 right now. Let's say Bitcoin goes up to 60,000 at some point in the future, which it's been at 60,000 before, like a little more than a year ago, maybe like a year and a half ago, it was at 60,000. If Bitcoin goes back up to that, it's pretty much a guarantee that Ethereum will more than double in that same time frame. So you would make more investing in Ethereum than you would in Bitcoin if Bitcoin were to double, because Ethereum is more volatile than Bitcoin. It's more of a more risk reward. If you believe in the cryptocurrency market as a whole into the future, if you think it'll ultimately succeed, Ethereum is your best investment because it's secure enough. It's pretty much guaranteed to be at least number 2 for a long time in the cryptocurrency rankings in terms of total market cap. But also, it's going to increase at a faster rate if the entire market itself continues to increase. The reason that you would invest in Bitcoin over Ethereum is if you wanted more stability, because Bitcoin is less volatile than pretty much any cryptocurrency that would be worthy of investing in. Bitcoin is like the least volatile, it's the most stable. So it's just that if the market goes down, then Ethereum is a worse investment. But theoretically, the market is supposed to go up. That's why anybody's investing in it at all. Dogecoin is really its own entity. Dogecoin is really its own fucking thing. The thing about Dogecoin is that it's really just all about appearances and meme culture and nonsense, but nonsense is kind of looking like it has a bright future, seeing as that, well, look at the world around you. Twitter is taking over and everybody's just shouting nonsense on Twitter, TikTok. I mean, it's a more and more nonsensical world that we're living in, but like the Elon Musk does whatever, like owns Twitter, I don't know if he like is still the CEO or whatever, but he has updated the imagery of Twitter to include a dog, or at least somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere I saw it. Maybe like if you log in on a desktop, there's like a pic. The Dogecoin dog is permanently on Twitter. I don't know. Maybe that was just for like a couple days, but it's all based on Elon Musk's like the perception of him. If a lot of it is related to that because he has publicly assigned himself to, I mean, publicly associated himself with Dogecoin, but that's how kind of ridiculous the cryptocurrencies are, is that it's so much about just perception and likability or whatever, that a celebrity could just tweet about a crypto a lot, and then by association they're just identifying themselves to that cryptocurrency, and then the perception of that celebrity influences whether that cryptocurrency goes up or down. That's, for some reason, that's how it works. We see that that's certainly true with Elon Musk and Dogecoin, because it used to be crazier. Like whenever Elon Musk did anything in the news, then Dogecoin would go way up or way down or whatever. Like in the month leading up to Elon Musk hosting SNL, Dogecoin went up drastically, and then after he hosted SNL, it went back down drastically. And it's really like at the point that Elon Musk hosted SNL is the point that it was some sort of turning point for the celebrity of Elon Musk, where people stopped seeing him as a serious figure and realized that he likes to just, he doesn't take things seriously. And then at that point, it wasn't as much of a mystery. Like there's more mystery surrounding Elon Musk before he went on SNL. It didn't really hurt his career. It's just the perception of him changed a little bit. SNL, by the way, is like shit now. The thing is that you never know if it's really shit or if like the person saying that is just too old, because theoretically, like hypothetically, kids always like it, but or it's like whoever's in high school now does like it, so it's like it's always current or something like that. So since I'm 30, I might just not be in the know that SNL is still good, but it's crap. Really, I don't think it's good at all anymore. They'll I mean, who knows? Who knows how long they'll make it? It's it's crap because they're just relying on New York media. They're relying on a world where New York has far and away the most prestige of any city in America, and all of the biggest news corporations are headquartered in New York City, like Fox News, CBS News, ABC News, not to mention just ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC themselves. Also, all of those are headquartered in New York. Also, all of their affiliate news corporations are headquartered in New York. MSNBC is headquartered in New York, New York Times. That is to say that New York is definitely the news capital in the world, and New York City as a whole takes a major hit at the point that centralized news goes away, which centralized narration goes away, which it is right now. And and you see it come through in Saturday Night Live, because they're always talking about the news, and they're always living in a world where the shit that's happening on the East Coast is what's important. They're always living in a world where the presidency is important and politics is important, which is the same world espoused by CNN and MSNBC, and like every news corporation is always telling you that the political world is like the world you need to hear from first. and it's just a New York driven narrative. It's a narrative that serves to promote and propagandize New York City. The entire landscape of TV, all of these TV channels are constantly propagandizing New York City, in the same vein, because they're all centered in New York, and just as a consequence, they're like talking about New York or centering the sitcom in New York, or if not New York, a lot of times on the East Coast, or I mean, not every sitcom is in New York or whatever, but there's just so much New York interference. And I would say it's also true that it comes through in sports quite a bit. New York is propagandized in the on these same channels, CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox. New York is promoted the most. Like they like the Giants and the Jets more than other teams, and when the Giants win a playoff game, they're all sucking Daniel Jones's dick for winning one playoff game, trying to throw it in everybody's face. Like, see, Daniel Jones is good. Like they're all sad about it, that anybody crossed him, which doesn't make any sense. I'm talking about when Daniel Jones recently won a playoff game, this past playoffs against the Vikings, and I really do believe that the referees are also part of it. The referees influence games for New York teams because of this, in a similar way to how we see agendas that the media has. It's hard to explain that connection, but pretty much the New York Giants, how do they win? How does Eli Manning win 2 Super Bowls or whatever? They beat the Packers every single time they're in the playoffs. The Packers cannot beat the Giants in the playoffs, and then the Giants play the Vikings, and oh, what do you know? The Giants win, because I think it's just that it's already written down. It's already chosen that the New York team is going to beat some low-level, small market Midwest team. I think the fix is in, and you see that that's true when after they win, every analyst has to educate the public about how good Daniel Jones is. It's like, we don't need to hear about that. We're not excited about Daniel Jones. You're not going to make him exciting for us. I don't know how good Daniel Jones is, but I don't want to hear about it. And there's winning a playoff game doesn't prove a lot, really. I think Mark Sanchez won a number of them. Mark Sanchez, I guess, is just the quintessential shitty quarterback in my mind. That's why I bring him up. Like, oh yeah, even Mark Sanchez won a playoff game. East Coast teams, there's just like East Coast, but I'm talking about Saturday Night Live is not powerful anymore because they don't live in a world that's like rewards New York and sees New York as the source of what is new like they used to. Because if we live in a world where CNN is king still, which it's like CNN was so much more king 10 years ago and so much more king 20 years ago than they are now. It's just like it's a lot of the power of New York is the news, really. That's like the biggest, it's probably the most important thing about the city is that they have so many news corporations headquartered. And so like, since that industry is, I mean, it's being given over to the people now. It's not centralized in these giant corporations anymore. New York City hurts because of that, and then like the storylines that SNL is using for their skits is like, that takes a big hit, but everybody's shitting on the presidency now, and that's a big hit to SNL as well. Just like SNL really is not, it's really it's not what it used to be now at this point for real. It's just so gypsy what's going on at SNL that you can never say that they're dead for certain because of that gypsy ass Lorne Michaels, who is both a Canadian and a Jew. I'm not trying to be racist, but I'm really just trying to mention that Canadians are gypsies. You shouldn't trust them. And but Phil Hartman was a Canadian, and Phil Hartman was a god. I love Phil Hartman. There's so many great and talented. I mean, there's a lot of Canadians actually that are really funny and talented. So it's not really like that. They made this little known documentary in the 80s called The Canadian Conspiracy, and it collected all of these famous Canadians, and it's this satire, like mockumentary, and Lorne Michaels is in it, and what's this, Steve Martin, and what's that guy? I'm forgetting his name. That elf-looking guy that is a duo with Steve Martin. You know who I'm talking about. For some reason, I'm blanking on his name. He's from Canada. He was in it. But there's so many like famous Canadians that cross over to America, like a really high number of them. But the Canadian Conspiracy is like this. I started to watch it because I was interested, and it's dumb. It just serves to propagandize Canada or make Canada look good. Like, all of those Canadians are just so full of themselves about being Canadian. I feel like, I mean, some of them are, not all of them. I watched an interview that Nardwuar did with Nirvana. And Nardwuar is from Vancouver. Nirvana is from Seattle. But the first part of the interview, it's in 3 parts. It's like 21 minutes long, 3 7-minute parts of this interview that Nardwuar did with Nirvana. And Nardwuar did this interview, but it's the last interview that Kurt Cobain, sorry. It's the last interview that Kurt Cobain did before he died. Was with Nardwuar. I guess that's why he killed himself, probably. But the first part of this video was Nardwuar just trying to get Kurt Cobain to admit all of his connections to Canada or something. Like, Nardwuar is really embodying his connection to Canada and trying to promote it for some reason. That's a certain Canadian thing that comes across in Canadians sometimes. It's sort of annoying. Is that they're like, I mean, this thing that Nardwuar is doing, he's trying to act like the Nirvana is a product of Canada, but what I want to mention is the commercial that Dave Grohl did, I guess during the Super Bowl. I think it was during the Super Bowl. I didn't see the Super Bowl. But I saw this commercial. Dave Grohl is talking about, so I'm getting a bunch of bogeys because my TV is a lag and it's fucking up the way that I've learned to shoot. So I'm not bad at this game. It's the TV's fault. I didn't lose. It wasn't my fault. And so, but anyway, this commercial is interesting. And so, like, what is Dave Grohl after with this? And I forgot. I mean, just talking about Dave Grohl, I wasn't even thinking about how he was in Nirvana. But I guess it all connects. Maybe that's why he's talking about it. It's because of the Nardwuar interview. No, I'm just kidding. That wouldn't be because of it. But he's talking about it because, well, like, so why is he making this commercial? He brings up the point that football was invented in Canada. And so that's fine. But it's really like, so Dave Grohl is giving credit to Canada for all of these things. And so what is he, just like a Canada fanboy or something? Like, is Dave Grohl a sellout for Canada? It's not really sexy what he is proliferating. That's what I mean to say. Promulgating, maybe. Let me look up what promulgating means. So those are the cryptos I have. I'll talk in a minute again about what to invest in, and I'll give you a really special cryptocurrency that's really boom bust that could make you a bunch of money. It's doing phenomenal. Everybody's doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm just trying to do like Donald Trump rhetoric. This crypto is phenomenal. They're doing a great job promulgating. Promulgate. Promote or make widely known. That's what I mean to say, actually. Proliferating and promulgating both works. So what is he promulgating by? You can't exactly promulgating is finicky. You can't really use it in the same way in two similar sounding sentences. So what is he promoting by talking about Canada? I don't know. I feel like he's kind of making fun of Canada, actually, and that most people wouldn't understand that. It would just kind of looks like he's a Canada fanboy. But that's the whole thing with Canada, is that they wouldn't want you to know any of that. And so he's making this Super Bowl commercial, like, in the middle of America's biggest thing. Maybe he wants to shit on football. Maybe he probably, like, hates football. At the same time, he's like, and by the way, football was made in Canada, so fuck all you football fans. He maybe just hates football. Because I don't want to know that, being a fan of football, and it came from Canada or whatever. But he's also shitting on Canada by bringing out into the open all of these things that they are responsible for. He's like, thank you, Canada, for all this. And some of them are just kind of loserly. Like, oh, yeah, thanks for that, Canada. Some of them are just, like, dorky. You'd be like, yeah, thanks, Canada, for doing that. Where you would think, like, if he's bringing all of these out into the open, now Canada isn't hiding behind anything. And that's what Canada likes to do, and that's what I'm talking about, why they're gypsy. Is, like, they would like for it to be that you didn't know that they were responsible for all these things that Americans use all the time. They want to secretly infiltrate American culture. But Dave Grohl is, like, calling them out on all this shit. Like, oh yeah, thanks for this and this and this, and those are all the things. So fuck off for now and for forever, Canada, because that's all that you did, or we listed all of them. Because it's like, Canada always likes to say that they are doing, like, you hear about the Canadians that cross over into here, like Justin Bieber and The Weeknd, and whoever, Mike Myers, Lorne Michaels. You hear about them when they're Canadian, but it's all of the people that are never, like, there's so many Americans that you would never mention are not Canadian. But Canada would like for you to think in the back of your mind that it's like, oh, everybody is famous is coming from Canada. It's just that kind of thing where they are a little shitty about their, or pompous about their level of influence. They would like, and this mockumentary that they made, the Canadian Conspiracy, I think is what it's called, is trying to act like all of that is a joke. But really, that, I watched a few minutes of it and it's just a fucking mess. But they just collected all of these celebrities, American celebrities that you may not have known are actually from Canada, into this thing, and they all get together and poke fun at this same idea, like, oh yeah, Canadians are it's taking over America. But it's like they would like for that to be the case, and when they make satires like this thing, they're just trying to hide the fact that they want control and power, and they're evil. And that elf boy with Steve Martin, what's his name? Steve Martin and Martin Sheen. Is that it? No, Martin Short. Martin Short looks like an elf. Canada is closer to elf culture at the North Pole than not that that's real, not that there's elves at the North Pole, but the place that we, as far as elves existing, we would say that they're at, people who think that they exist, they say that they're at the North Pole. As far as elves being around at all, which they are usually around in some myth or some form at basically any point in human history over the last, like, 1200 years or whatever. In various forms, different myths, elves manifest themselves in something that somebody is believing in for whatever reason. Currently, as far as people believe in them, they think they're at the North Pole. This is a connection that I'm not going to get any credit for, saying that Martin Short looks like an elf and he's from Canada. I'm just saying there's kind of elfishness that happens in Canada anyway, like gypsy. It's hard to explain, but it's like watch an interview that Martin Short does with Conan O'Brien, and Martin Short, for some reason, knows how to make fun of Conan O'Brien to the point that Conan O'Brien's like really uncomfortable. Nobody else can do that. It's because Martin Short is a warlock of some kind. Canadians are like that. And so Saturday Night Live. Let me talk about these cryptocurrencies once more. Friends. I mean, if you listen long enough, you got to hear me say something sort of intriguing, rather than that I was just talking about cryptocurrency. It does pay to tune into this podcast, in more ways than one. And so I forgot if I mentioned it at the beginning, but this podcast is not my biggest priority right now, so I'm not gonna make them weekly anymore, but I just reserve the right to randomly release an episode whenever I want, because it doesn't benefit me to just end it, because I won't do another solo podcast besides this one. So, and oh wow, I just hit the plank of wood that's like right past the water. Like a foot shorter, I would have been in the water. It bounced off the wood onto the green. I must be headed in the right direction. But anyway, that's the order. Those cryptos are the best ones to invest in, I really do believe. Those are the sturdiest ones. Save XRP. XRP is very... that's the one I have the fourth most of. So if you were following along from the last portfolio I gave you, I've gotten rid of almost all of my Binance, basically all my Binance, and then all of my Cardano. Cardano is one of the top ones that I would tell you don't invest in. I don't believe in that one. It's because they're going off of something like peer-reviewed research, or they're like, this is the best crypto because it's studied in like research or something. It's very strange, but worse than that, it's behind... Cardano is behind Solana in the number of NFTs that are printed onto their blockchain. Solana... Ethereum has the most NFTs of any blockchain, of any crypto. And so that's another reason why it's your best investment. I've said that from the beginning of this podcast. Ethereum is your best investment. For some reason, I have more Bitcoin than Ethereum. That was more of an accident. But Ethereum has the most NFTs. Solana has the second most NFTs. Like, Solana shows the second most promise of any cryptocurrency as far as people minting NFTs. Where are they going to upload them? Where are they going to mint them? They go to Ethereum first. They go to Solana second. Solana has a lot of potential. Cardano, I don't think, is even third. But it really doesn't matter because you only need to invest in so many cryptos just for the purpose of investing in NFTs themselves. So it's like investing in Ethereum is you get to invest in the entire NFT market, really. And so it's just a good investment anyway, regardless, in comparison to any currency, the dollar or whatever. The dollar is really not doing that great. It's good to have some cryptocurrency if you have money to invest in at all. And maybe you don't have money, and so that makes me a pariah for talking about money or whatever. But Not that I have whatever ton of money. Not. I will not talk about the specifics of my finances, but I'll give you the cryptocurrencies I invest in. So the one I have the fourth most of is XRP, and so that's the only one of the ones I mentioned that I would say is, it's like a risk reward, but there's better. Dogecoin is a better risk reward to invest in. Like Dogecoin, so I told you why how Bitcoin compares to Ethereum, that Ethereum increases at a better rate. Or at least I hope I said that. I had to restart the broadcast because I wanted to rework how I was saying this. Dogecoin is kind of on its own plane and is more of a risk reward than Ethereum. Ethereum is more of a risk reward than Bitcoin. Dogecoin is more a risk reward than Ethereum. But it's not necessarily like related to Bitcoin. Whenever Bitcoin goes up or down, that makes all other cryptos go up or down, including Dogecoin. But Dogecoin, more so than pretty much any other crypto I could think of that would be worthy of an investment, is untethered to Bitcoin, or not as related to what Bitcoin does, because Dogecoin is really the same thing as Bitcoin, but it's actually better. But it currently, Dogecoin is at about 2% the worth of Bitcoin. Like the total market cap, Dogecoin is 2% of the total value of Bitcoin. And so when you consider that Dogecoin and Bitcoin are the same computer program, but Dogecoin, the reason Dogecoin is different is because they have a quote-unquote infinite supply. Bitcoin has a finite supply. This is the main difference between Bitcoin and Dogecoin. But aside from that, Dogecoin is the same computer program that created the blockchain Bitcoin. That same program created Dogecoin, but the creators of Dogecoin tweaked the supply. And so they're the same thing. It's just that Bitcoin, it has so much more worth because it was there first and it has more name recognition worldwide. And but you consider right now that Dogecoin is 2% of the total worth of Bitcoin, and that they're the same function. It's really not like, oh, what, Dogecoin's just a shit coin. It's just a meme or whatever. That's Bitcoin is that too. Then if Dogecoin is just a shit meme coin, Bitcoin is also just a shit meme coin because they're the same thing. But for whatever reason, Dogecoin is 2% of the worth of Bitcoin. It just has to do with perception. Because Dogecoin is seen as a meme coin or whatever. But I've said this from pretty much the beginning of the podcast that I think in the long run, meme will be a moniker that helps out Dogecoin, and it's possible that Dogecoin ends up being the same worth as Bitcoin one day. And because of that, Dogecoin is really one of your best investments. It's like Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum are the three best ones. But Dogecoin is your greatest risk reward. If you believe the entire market will succeed into the future, Dogecoin is a really good investment. Unless Elon Musk shits the bed. That's another thing to consider. Because the volatility of it is related to like Elon Musk and him tweeting about Dogecoin and him changing the imagery of Twitter to include Dogecoin and whatever. He will stand behind it as long as he's alive. But like if it turns out that going to Mars is just a hoax, then Dogecoin will die or something like that, basically. Because that's the way that it works with that one. That's how much nonsense it is that this one guy's achievements are just like determining this multi-million-dollar company. It might be a multi-billion-dollar company. Let me look at that. Let me look at that. Yeah, it's a $12.2 billion company. It's Dogecoin. So these aren't like, they're not for pretend. They're not made up. They're just competing. They just compete with fiat currencies. And fiat currencies are having a tough time. So I just wanted to explain XRP for a second. XRP is different from all other big cryptocurrencies. XRP is the sixth biggest in terms of market cap right now. This is the way that XRP ideally would pan out, is that every banks start adopting XRP, because the thing is that banks don't adopt cryptos, but the only one that they would potentially adopt is XRP, because the whole function of XRP is to work among banks across the world to provide a faster way for banks in the world to transfer money to each other, because that's the function of XRP does already do that. It creates it makes banking faster for the world. It's unprecedented in its ability in what it does to help banks transfer money to each other, and without fees and shit like that. It's a digital currency. It's more advanced than fiat currencies in this area, in banks' ability to transfer money to each other. It's just that in the future, more and more banks are adopting XRP, and in the future, maybe every bank will have it, and then it will become this universal currency that's like, it'll be basically like a dollar, because it'll be really easily accessible for any common person to just put their dollars into XRP, because it will just be an option that's given to you at a bank. Like in the future, a bank will be like, do you want to invest in this in dollars or in XRP? Like they might just tell you that up front at the point that you start a bank account. And that's the thing about XRP, that offers that nothing else does, because it works with banks. Anyway, what a good golf shot. What a good golf shot that was. So like what else do I want to say? Okay, yeah. There's this other crypto that I didn't mention that I invested in. I was bad. This is one of my guilty pleasures. I was real bad and put some money in a crypto called Mines yesterday. This is like an eighth cryptocurrency I have money in, so I'm invested in 8 of them. This other one is called Mines. Mines is ranked like number 2,000, and so I'm looking for a big payout. It's just like really risky. But Mines is, the creator of Mines goes on the Joe Rogan Experience. He's been on there a couple times. His name is like Bill Ottman or something, and he was on there recently, like just a couple episodes ago. And he went on the Joe Rogan Experience, and then there was a major spike in this crypto called Mines, and then it went back down again. But now is a good time to invest in it, because it's back down. And the thing about this crypto is that Mines is a social media platform. There's a few cryptos that are like that, but this one is like, it gets a lot of press and a lot of attention from big names and from people on the right, and some of like the biggest people in the world today. Like Donald Trump invited the creator of Mines to the White House, or to some press dinner or something, like recently, or in like 2019, 2018. Joe Rogan likes this guy. Donald Trump likes this guy. Mines is kind of like Rumble or Parler, in that it is a considered right-wing social media platform. But what makes it different from Rumble or Parler is that it is also, it it's based in the crypto world, but it's like a social media like Facebook or Twitter where you can post whatever, but you you post whatever, and then like if your posts get upvoted or if they get a lot of likes, you get rewarded in the native token of Mines, which is called Mines. The website calls it remines. Depending on how many remines you get, or like likes, you get paid in the native token. And so this token is actively being traded on this social media platform. The social media platform, according to its founder, the Ottman guy, he said on Joe Rogan that they have 5 million users, and that's like double from the previous time he was on Joe Rogan, which I don't know how long ago that was. But first of all, people tend to think that there's a number of people in the country that just think Joe Rogan is right about everything no matter what. So they see this guy go on there and they'll just start investing money in Mines. But like Mines, seeing as that Twitter and Facebook are not decentralized platforms, and Mines has an edge in terms of security and privacy in comparison to Twitter, it also has an edge in free speech. Because they are openly, Mines is kind of radical. They allow hate speech. They allow any kind of speech. They're very open about that. They allow any kind of speech and don't ban any speech on there. And they're also maintain more privacy. So there's more openness of speech and there's more privacy on Mines than there is on the major social media platforms of today. And so this thing actually has potential to be a major player in social media in the future, Mines, and it's also a cryptocurrency that you can invest in, which it's unique actually. This really doesn't exist, I don't think, anywhere else. I don't think there's anything quite like this. There's a lot of like crypto social media platforms, but there are none that do everything like this one does, and it's really undervalued, this cryptocurrency. So if you figure out how to invest in it, it's like number 2,000 in the rankings right now. I bet it'll go up quite dramatically from where it is now, would be my guess. I mean, depending on if this website, this project pans out. It's a decentralized application, the same as Twitter is an application, Facebook is an application, Minds is an application, but it's on the decentralized web as opposed to the centralized web. But the decentralized web is allegedly the future. That's what the whole crypto market is about. If you think the crypto market would go up, there's a good chance that this media platform will be a player of some kind into the future. But crypto is undervalued. The way that you invest in it is you have to Coinbase. You can do it through Coinbase if you search Mines, and then just click on trade Mines on a decentralized exchange. But it didn't work for me when I tried to follow that link. The way that I do it is that the way that I get Mines is that I trade it through Uniswap, and to get Uniswap, you just have to download the Coinbase wallet. And so only if you invest in crypto are you listening to what I'm talking about now. But the Coinbase wallet is just an app you can download, and you can transfer money. You can transfer crypto from any other place you have it to the Coinbase wallet. It works like any crypto wallet does, but the Coinbase wallet allows you access to Uniswap. which they don't even say is Uniswap anymore. They just allow you to trade obscure cryptos. If you can do it through the Coinbase wallet. That's how I got mines. And also, I invest in. If you want to stake cryptos, what I use is Binance.us. They make it really easy to stake. I'm staking Cosmos and Polygon, and that's sort of the reason why I have them. Those are Cosmos. I don't really see a ton of reason to have other than that a lot of people will own it because it is one of the leaders in terms of interest that you can redeem for staking it. So a lot of people will own it for that reason. You can get 7.5% interest per year if you for the Cosmos that you stake. And so I stake. You can do that through Binance. Binance.us makes it easy to do that. A lot easier than it used to be, and they show you as it's happening what rewards that you're redeeming. I stake Polygon. I think I get 5% for Polygon on Binance per year. But if you want to stake these cryptos, Polygon is a really steady one to have. Polygon is basically just auxiliary Ethereum. It's the same thing as Ethereum, sort of, not exactly. It's just kind of it's really interlinked with Ethereum, but there's a lot of options for you to pay for things in terms of Polygon or Ethereum, and it's just it's auxiliary Ethereum is and worth a lot less than Ethereum right now, so it will probably go up a lot in comparison to Ethereum and Bitcoin, and for that reason a lot of people invest in Matic Polygon, and it really has major swings where it'll like boom for a few weeks. Every once in a while it's just like sort of guarantee that it'll do that. Polygon's a good one. So I would say that your best investments are like number 1 Ethereum, number 2 Dogecoin, number 3 Matic. I mean, number 3 Bitcoin, number 4 Matic Polygon. Those are your best investments. But I guess I just wanted to mention, talking about Saturday Night Live yet once more, or maybe just things that are encrypted, like Canadian. It's just so encrypting your Lorne Michaels to be Canadian and Jewish. Canadians and Jews, I would say, are like encrypting groups of people, mysterious, more so than other groups of people. And it's totally right to say that. It's totally righteous to say that. You can call a group of people mysterious. It's like, why for so long are you considered shitty for saying Jews are like secretive or something? Some groups of people are more secretive than others. Lorne Michaels is a cryptocurrency. He carries the power of encryption of multiple encrypting groups of people. But like, one thing I can't get out of my head is I was watching Dwight Schrute, Rainn Wilson's opening monologue when he hosted SNL, which maybe he only did once. But how did I make the cut? I must be having a horrible round. It's because of this TV. My sad run at the Valspar Championship is ending here, but looks like I'll be able to continue this career mode. But anyway, Rainn Wilson hosted Saturday Night Live, and I was watching the monologue he did. It was maybe like 10 to 15 years ago. But Lorne Michaels is like, they're making fun of The Office, and the premise of his monologue was that he walked around the studios of SNL, and then everywhere he was walking it looked like the set of The Office, and people were acting like that. and SNL has spoofed The Office multiple times during The Office's run. And there was a point in the monologue where Rainn Wilson was talking to Lorne Michaels, and Lorne Michaels, this was in their script for their monologue. Lorne Michaels was like, "Ask me what the most important thing about comedy is," and Rainn Wilson's like, "What's the most important thing about?" And then Lorne Michaels cut him off and said, "Timing." And then it cut to like Lorne Michaels doing a talking head. Like Lorne Michaels turned to the camera, and then it cut to him doing a talking head. And I've really just been thinking about it. I feel like Lorne Michaels is making a statement with this because he said it emphatically, but it is kind of like if you wanted to make fun of The Office as a whole, you would mention that a lot of the laughs have to do with that their timing, that The Office is exploiting that other TV shows by comparison aren't able to exploit, like the timing of the way that the characters talk to each other in The Office is more true to real life than anything else you've ever seen in any other TV show. Like The Office maybe banks a lot of its name off of its ability to replicate timing, the way that timing happens in real life. And like Lorne Michaels sees this because he's a gypsy and knows all, and is making fun of The Office for this, right to Rainn Wilson's face. And it's an East Coast kind of thing. A lot of the writers, where SNL is on the East Coast and The Office is an East Coast product, and it's the fictional setting for the show is the East. It's not exactly the coast, the east part of the country, but Eastern culture, and then like the branches of Dunder Mifflin are all in the East or the Northeastern culture, like New York. But it's the Office is a product of East Coast and Northeast culture, because a lot of you look at all of the writers are from like Massachusetts or New York or New Jersey. Basically, all of them. A lot of the actors are as well. Like, I think Steve Carell is even from Massachusetts. Originally, I forget. Like, there is only one or two of the major people involved that were from like California, but like they're basically all these people were like Mindy Kaling went to Harvard and BJ Novak went to one of those like Ivy League school, and Paul Lieberstein, Toby, went to Harvard or something. All these people are from the Northeast, and the TV show The Office is a propagandizer of Northeast culture and of New York City throughout the show. And you see that this is true because some of the most off moments of the show are moments where they're propagandizing New York City. Like, the most unattractive moments to the show to me, which there's only like a couple of these snippets throughout the run of the entire show. It's too bad I'm saying the most interesting thing I'm saying at the very end of this episode, as I usually do. But the like the episode where Michael is in New York City for his presentation, and he goes to Sbarro's, and he's like, he's looking for a celebrity, and like Conan O'Brien walks by, but he doesn't see him. That's all part of the New York propagandizing shit that happens across all of like cable TV for years and years and years. It's right in line with that, because it's like it doesn't do the show any justice to throw Conan O'Brien in there. It's like a cheap cameo. And it's the same as when Jim and Pam go to New York, and they're like do all the New York shit. That's got to be the worst sequence in the entire series, or one of them, where not Jim and Pam, but Jim and Karen are in New York City, and it's just a big commercial for New York, the way that TV always works. Like, as it turns out, you can have such a fun time in New York just for free. Like all of these spontaneous accidents happen, and it's just a fun. They're acting like it's casual fun or like easy. Like New York isn't this big monstrosity, like difficult to get around with traffic and pollution and shit. Like so it's just so much spontaneous, easy fun is to be had in New York City because they just wandered around and had such a great time. Like, oh, they second acted Spam a lot, so they got into like a Broadway play for free or something. Like everything was cheap, and it's just a commercial for New York. And he's like, Jim is like, and I swear I saw Lorne Michaels. And Karen's like, no. But it's just more of that, like New York reinforcing other New York institutions because the office is a product of NBC and NBC's headquartered in New York, and it's similar to another one of these moments is when they go to Niagara Falls, and there's this off-putting narration that Jim mentions about Niagara Falls used to be this very what did he say, mystical, like magical experience for people, but now it's just kind of kitschy. And that's just something that only the writers of this show would know or care about. People who like the Northeast culture of things, they're like, oh, it used to be magical, but now it's kitschy. Like none of us, the viewer, needed to know that, but it just serves to propagandize the area that all of these writers grew up in. And it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't do the show any justice. Like you don't need. It's clear to see that you don't need to mention this in terms of the plot line of this episode where Jim and Pam get married, right? Because why would you mention that it is worse now? It's just like one of the writers is from the area and they're trying to tell everybody in the nation that Niagara Falls used to be really special or something. But there's a lot. It's so much. How many times that Michael is bringing up a skit from Saturday Night Live, that's culture, that's Americana. Everybody in America agrees with that. Like everybody knows that this is big and this is popular, like Night at the Roxbury or Lazy Scranton as a spoof of Lazy Sunday. He mentions so many references to Saturday Night Live in The Office just because New York institutions validating other New York institutions. And there's something else I was just going to mention. Just that's the way that SNL is like I don't know, is maybe I'll mention this some other time. I'm running out of time. I'll edit out some of that XRP bullshit. I should just put this right at the very beginning of the episode so people know that I have fun things to talk about. Anyway, Saturday Night Live references itself so much. It's so self-indulgent that, and it's always been that way, like the way that they're always making jokes about when somebody's hosted 10 times and then it's like now they've hosted the 11th time, and then they, like anytime Steve Martin hosts, they have to bring up how many times he hosted. That's the way they are with everybody. Everybody mentions this is the third time I did it or whatever. It's always referencing itself, and it's always self-indulgent, Saturday Night Live, like, and it's really kind of nauseating in that respect. Like the apparently it was a big deal when Steve Martin was King Tut at the time. But it's like New York City news institutions are the ones that spread to America that this is vital and important, central to the culture, are these things that happen on Saturday Night Live. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just mentioning, like, it's a little nauseating when Steve Martin comes back to host and then SNL has to act like it was a really big deal to everybody in the nation when you dressed up as King Tut, or like remember everybody knows about that. Everyone thinks that's so hilarious. That's the way that SNL talks about politics too, where it's like I've never really felt like the way that SNL talks about the presidency and then makes fun of the debates, that like it's that the debates are really as relevant as SNL is making them out to be, but it's like SNL always goes forward assuming that this is the biggest thing on people's minds, just because they're related to Washington D.C., just because they're both on the East Coast and they're validating East Coast culture. And it's good while it lasts. It's tremendous for America. Honestly, it's one of America's greatest products. Saturday Night Live. It's great for the culture, but I'm just saying it is at the same time horrible and nauseating. Don't forget about that as well. Just the referencing itself and whatever is like, it's what SNL does that way is similar to just what Michael Scott does in referencing SNL. It's like SNL culture is happening on The Office. And that's why I can't stop thinking about that monologue that Rainn Wilson did. Because maybe in Lorne Michaels' mind, he is like an influencer of the comedy of The Office, maybe. I bet he is high and mighty enough on himself that he does think something like that. But anyway, yet another episode, another one. And so, talk to you all later on. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.